What's up, everybody? It's your boy Julian Lewis,
It's your girl Daisy Alaeze.
and we want to welcome you to Talkyosport. Today, we have a very special guest with us, joining us all the way from Cyprus. We have Alli Cudworth. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
We're great. We're great. Thanks for coming on with us and joining us today.
Of course.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into it. The first thing we want to talk about, when I ask you, who's the toughest opponent that you faced overseas?
So the first thing that came to mind, of course, is like your own mind is like your toughest opponent. Like whenever you're overseas by yourself in a new country, like you go through those struggles where you're like, why am I doing this? I'm away from my family. I'm away from home. I'm uncomfortable. And of course, your mind is tough. Like you have so much time. You compare yourself to other people. You're trying to compete. You're trying to be your best, and it's tough. It's not easy to be a pro athlete all the time. You have your bad days, it's not easy. But volleyball wise, I think the toughest teams we play are the teams that we constantly have to see over and over again. In our league, there's only 8 teams, so we're seeing the same players over and over and over. We last year we played one team probably like 6 times over the course of 8 or 9 months. Yeah, so you're seeing the same people the whole time,
Right.
and it's not just like seeing these teams and like, oh, like we'll beat them, no problem. They're competitive, and maybe they get a new player one time, and then you have to change everything, and it's tough. It's definitely tough.
hmm That sounds tough, especially like playing teams that many times over that long of a season. Like, cause I mean, teams scout each other, and you get to know players, and then now you know like what players do well, what they don't do well, and use that to your advantage. So I can understand that's definitely tough going against those same teams like that. Um,
Right.
I
I
like
think
It's
for
tough.
the mindset part. That was a good response because you don't
yeah,
really
Thank you.
you don't really think about that. Like you're like, but it
Yeah.
is tough. It's just kind of like, okay, I have to do it, but you really are in competition with like your mind, your emotions, like being
Hmm.
away from everybody, and it's just like, yeah, I think
Right.
kind of like overlook that aspect of battling with ourselves. So
Yeah. And like it's hard when, you have an off day and like there's nobody on the team that you can vent to because you don't want to seem like, oh, I'm complaining and I don't like it here. It's like you have to think about it on your own. Maybe your roommate you can talk to, then you got to call home. But then home is a 7 hours difference. Like it's not easy to communicate with home all the time. So
right,
it's you get in your own head a lot.
exactly. I think we've all been through that.
Yes.
absolutely, or you've like wanted to leave and just like, all right,
Yep.
I'm ready to
Right.
go back
Yeah.
home.
I'll
I
just buy a ticket
literally
and leave.
I tell some of the younger guys that I talk to all the time, like, and it's kind of like a joke, but every single year I literally have this thought going through my mind, like, I want to go home. And it's all like it always hits me at some point in the season. It's always like around the same point too. It's like
Yeah.
I'm ready to leave, but then I end up getting over it. But you're right, you're definitely battling with yourself and your mind. And that's definitely a tough thing to get over while playing over here.
Yeah, and I think it also comes with like language barriers too. Um, a lot of times you're trying to like communicate what's going on, and like we recently had a coaching switch, but our previous coach didn't speak English. So I'm trying to get across a point in the game or something, and he just gets angry and just doesn't understand. And we're talking about the same thing, and I know we are, but he
hmm
doesn't understand because of that language barrier. So then that's like extra pressure of me getting frustrated, trying to say, no, I understand what you're saying, but then he's not understanding that I understand.
All right.
So it's so mental.
Yeah. What language do they speak out there?
They speak Greek,
Mhm.
Okay.
so like it's the letters are different too. So like when you right right, so like when you're going out places and you're trying to find directions and you're like, ah. I don't know what city this is.
Right. Have you tried to learn the language?
Yeah, I can like sound out words when they're written in Greek. I know some phrases, some simple things, but luckily, besides the previous coach, everybody else speaks English.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a very influenced by British colony before. So there's a lot of British people here. A lot of people that speak English actually have a British accent instead of like just a Greek accent with English. So it's a lot more comfortable knowing that everybody can speak English too.
Yeah, that's good. That definitely helps. Like I've been through both situations where I've had teammates that didn't speak English, and that was like the toughest thing in the world. Um,
Mhm.
and then I was blessed enough to sign with a team this year where pretty much everyone speaks English. Like even some of my guys now, they grew up in America, so like their
That's
English is like
nice. Yeah.
almost perfect.
Right. And you're like,
Like
thank God you understand me.
exactly.
Right.
It's like the best thing. It just
Yes.
makes you feel so much more comfortable. Like even off the
Yes.
on the court and off the court, it's so
Yeah.
much better.
That's how my roommate is. She studied at Tulane, so she she was there for 4 years, and like she knows like culture and everything too. So it's like a lot more comfortable
Mhm.
living, and we understand each other.
Right.
Yeah, I found myself adapting more than anything. I went to school like I was like, all right, I'm gonna understand y'all, and y'all gonna understand me. So I
Mhm.
went and took classes for Spanish. So
That's nice. Yeah.
Those came in handy.
I did. Cause I was like, listen, communicate. I'm not about to yell at y'all in English and then have you look at me like, what?
Yep.
Exactly.
That happens a lot.
Oh man. Okay, so you played college at Ashland? I'm sorry.
Yes, Ashland
Okay.
University. Yes.
So you were in the GLIAC, and for those
Yeah.
that don't know, I played in the GLVC, and so those are two Division II conferences and kind of like rival conferences. So
Yes, definitely.
right now, right now, it's a little joke, but I don't like Allie right now because she played in the GLIAC, but
It's
uh,
okay.
not just a little joke. But all right, so what was your biggest challenge going from the GLIAC to playing professionally overseas?
Yeah, so I'm, as you know, in the GLIAC and the GLVC, it's competitive. It's a really competitive Division II conference. Um, all the teams there are pretty good, you know. They, everybody in college is between that age range of like 17 to 22 or 23. So everybody's there, they're studying, they all have the same daily schedule, you know, going to classes, going to workouts, going to practices. Um, Going to pros, then it's so different. We have any age between, I think like 14 is one of the youngest, all the way up to like 35 or 40. Like there's people at every age when you come here. Um, and then the other thing is that, you know, when you're in college, everybody's there competing, and most people have scholarships or some sort of thing that's making them competitive in practices. Here, my team is only like semi-professional. So right now we have me and two other foreign players, quote unquote, because one is Croatian, my one roommate. We have another who is French and Ukrainian. And then we have two other that are local that are considered professionals as well. But then everybody else, like they go to school, they go to work, they have other lives besides volleyball. So it's tough when, you know, you come to compete and you want to compete at the highest level possible, but not everybody else is on the same page. They're maybe they're just to, like just for fun. So it's it's not easy to completely change your mindset and realize, okay, this girl's only 14. She has school in the morning. She's coming to practice and we're trying to do basic skills and she doesn't know them.
Right.
Like it's just so different. Like when I was 14, I was just starting to play club volleyball. Like I knew nothing. I was not focused on my sport. I was focused on school. Like it wasn't my life where now it is. Like this is all I do. So that just the big change of like age range and what the focus is for the team.
Mm-hmm. I definitely get that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
a lot of people don't realize that like when you come overseas for any sport, like a lot of players start playing professionally at like you said, the age of like 14.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you're literally playing with kids sometimes, or
Yes.
super grown adults.
Babies. Babies.
I
Like
had
Yes.
I
a
know,
15-year-old on my team my first year overseas. I mean, she was great. She was 15. Like, she was
yeah.
Yeah.
one of the best kids I ever seen play, all of that. But, like she
Hmm.
was on the Spanish national team for her age group, like everything. But it's like, you go to school, like, you go to high school.
Yes.
Like,
And they're immature sometimes. Not that I mean, it's just they're in a different stage of life and it's
yeah,
hard.
yeah. And it's just like,
Exactly.
okay.
Yep.
I know I went through a period where like I wanted some of my teammates, well, I wanted everyone to be held accountable um, for whatever was going on the court, whatever was going on off the court. I wanted everyone to have that same accountability, and I wanted our coach to hold everyone accountable for that, for their actions. But he was trying to like let me know, and it took me a while to kind of, for this to get through my brain. And he was just letting me know that, everyone isn't on that same level. Everyone
Right.
doesn't take this as seriously. Everyone, like you said, some people go to school, some people are working.
Yeah.
This isn't everyone's first priority, so. That was
Exactly.
definitely a difference for me, and that was tough to overcome. Like once I first got out here, I've gotten a little bit used to it now, but it's still kind of like weird just knowing that.
Yeah. I think it's also hard. Like we have a girl she has a daughter. Like she
Hmm.
has other priorities too. Like there's other teams in our league too that um, there's so the team that we actually just played this past week, there's a woman who I think she's 40 something and like she's still like she's a really good player. And then she has a son and her son is married to another player on the team. So like it's a mother and her daughter-in-law playing together. And like that's not uncommon. Like like it's not uncommon for like that age range to happen on teams.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah, that's
So
Exactly.
strange.
Yeah.
Right.
very.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't
I
think
think go ahead.
no, you good. I was just saying I don't think I've seen that yet.
I have.
Yeah, it's very strange. There's a lot of moms who play here. Cyprus is very like laid back lifestyle, so like people that are local players um, like play for a long time and they have kids and then they come back and they keep playing and it's just the way of life here.
And for those that don't know, I know us three, we all know where Cyprus is, but for those that don't know, can you kind of like explain where it is?
Yeah, so Cyprus it's not part of Greece. A lot of people just think like, oh, it's part of Greece, but it's if you know where Turkey is and Egypt, it's right in the middle there. It's a little island um, close to like Israel in that Mediterranean Sea area.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, small island. It's very
Yeah.
nice.
Dope. Okay. So what's the typical process like getting overseas, and getting signed overseas, and just take us through like your journey, how you landed your first job and what it was like trying to get that first job.
Yeah, so after college, actually in college, I did a like overseas tour. It's with a company called Bring It Promotions. It's like a global challenge. They take players from all over, and you just do like a tournament sort of thing. And that's held in the actual tournament is in Croatia. So I had that experience of going with that team, and that they have a like tryout system too. So you can pay to do the tryout, and you might get a team through that. So that was my original plan. After college, I actually took a year off. I was coaching for a year as a graduate assistant. Just didn't love it. So I wanted to get into playing. I had posted something like a GoFundMe about wanting to, go to this tryout, but it would have cost me probably about $3,000. Right. So I like with the flight and the tryout and everything, like probably close to $3,000, which is just crazy to me to think of it now. But another girl reached out to me on Facebook and said, "Hey, I saw you're trying to raise money. There's this agent that I know. I think you should reach out to him, contact him, send your video, all of that." So my agent, his name's Michael Jensen. He runs Volley Business Agency. I contacted him, sent him my video, sent him my highlight film, and then I think it was only like a week after he sent me like, "Hey, I have a team that's interested." So at the time, I was freaking out. I was like, "Oh my God, there's a team that's interested. This is amazing." So excited, and telling my parents. And within a week, like I was like, "Okay, done. I'm doing this." So I signed within a week, and that was maybe in like March or April, 2 years ago now. So I signed over the summer. I did workouts and everything, started training back at my university. My sister actually still goes there. It's her last year there now. So I was training, practicing, and then I left in September, and I came to Cyprus, and that's how I got here. And it was just like really quick, like super, super exciting stuff. But my agent is literally life-changing guy. He has been so helpful with everything, super supportive. Whenever I have any issues, he's jumped in, solved them, made sure I was okay in the process too. It's not just about the money, which is what the other thing would have been. It was just about the money. And then there's some other agencies out there too that I'd contacted, and they said, like we only take Division I players, like high-level Division I players, which I get to an extent, but they just don't realize like Division II is just as competitive. And last year I played against a girl who worked for that agency, and we're in the same league doing the same thing. Like it's not that different. So
Right. So you mentioned at the beginning you went to like a camp or something.
yeah, so in college, I got like an email from this company. It's called Bring It Promotions, and it's a way for college athletes who play volleyball to like do a tour overseas, and it's like 14 days maybe, and you just like go and play different teams, and then there's a like global challenge is what it's called. And there's like a big tournament where you play teams from all over Europe, and it's nothing to do with actually finding a team out of it. It's just like for the experience.
Yeah.
So
Would you recommend that to other players looking to find their
yeah,
first?
maybe not like for a first job, for the experience and to see if you like the overseas lifestyle, or not even the lifestyle, just if you like it overseas. And like if you like to travel, it's a great way to see like, is this something I want to do in my future? I think without that, I wouldn't have known like much of anything about playing overseas. So
Do
Nice.
you feel like your coaches prepared you well? Like they gave you that type of insight? So like I know for basketball, our coach is always like, okay, yeah, we have agents here, have agents here. Like, how did you even start that conversation? After like, did your coach play a big part in helping you?
For the tour, yeah, my coach helped a lot. Afterwards, my assistant coach had a couple friends who like were either new agents or he knew some former players who had played overseas. So it wasn't, they didn't know a whole lot. Like a lot of college coaches don't think about that in the future. They're preparing only for the college season and their players there, and they're focused on recruiting for their next season. And that's no fault of theirs. I still keep in touch with my coaches. I still love them. They were part of the best years of my life. But a lot of coaches just don't know. They don't know the possibilities or the opportunities that are available.
Right. And that's where talkyosport comes in.
Exactly. And that's why it's so great. Yes,
Yeah,
because so many people don't know.
exactly. Like when I didn't even know if I wanted to continue playing after my last season at Lewis. But even when I was kind of clear about, what I wanted to do when I first got it into my mind, like, I want to continue playing overseas. Um, I didn't know like how to go about doing that. I didn't know
Right.
how to get there. I didn't know how to find an agent. I didn't know anything. So I kind of just like went into it blindsided.
Me too. Same. Exactly.
Fortunately enough, I was able to find a good agent. Got me my first job. So, but I definitely hear where you're coming from. Where a lot of coaches aren't really aware of how this whole lifestyle works and how to get over here. The best ways to find agents, all of that good stuff. So, I think it's definitely necessary for people like yourself to go back and kind of just shed light on how you did it, so some of those younger athletes can find out how they can kind of follow in your footsteps.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really helpful when we can create communities like this too. Like there's so many people that I know that have the same experience as me or they're going through the same things, but if we don't connect and we don't talk about it, then, you know, we can't make anything from it.
Exactly, exactly. So you've been in Cyprus for this is your second year in Cyprus, correct?
Correct.
With the same team.
Correct.
So, to my knowledge, that doesn't happen often, with a lot of
Yeah.
players. So, how do you feel about that, and how did that kind of affect your experience playing there?
Yeah, so I got really lucky that, last year it was my first year. Um, and I went into it really blind, and we had a tough year. We didn't end up where we wanted to be, but luckily, I was fortunate enough that they really liked me and they liked how I played. So they offered me a contract renewal with a little bit more money, so that's always nice.
Hmm.
But with that, I know what I'm getting myself into. I know what they expect. This year it's a little bit more pressure just because, of course, we want to do well. We have a lot of really good players this year, but knowing like where I am in the city, knowing the streets, in Cyprus, we drive on the other side of the road too. So it's like all backwards. So like knowing that I can do that and that, I have a car here. I have food when I need it. Like we have a great sponsor who's super helpful. He owns a dairy company. Like if I ever need milk or cheese or yogurt, frozen foods, like he's got it. Um, I know some of the language, at least a little bit, enough to get by. Um, like it's comfortable now. Like I know where I am. I know what's around here. I know some local people. It's comfortable is the best way to put it.
Hmm. Do you feel
Yeah.
like you can stay there your entire career?
I don't know. I think right now I'm in a really good spot where I have some really good teammates, a lot of good connections here that I could see myself here for another year, maybe 2. But that all depends on how we do and, how it's going. But it is a place that I really enjoy it. It's not just like about the volleyball part. The volleyball's great and everything. And I do get to be like a superstar here, and that's nice. But it's also like the lifestyle, like just going for a coffee, sitting with friends for a couple hours, and going to practice and going home, going to sleep. Like it's an easier lifestyle here on an island. Like island time is a real thing. They're definitely more laid back. But yeah, it is. I want to see other places, but I think in general, Cyprus it's pretty good. It's a pretty good life.
That's
How
good.
long do you foresee yourself playing?
This is something I've gone back and forth about a lot. At the end of last year and during the summer, I was like, just one more year. When I first got here this year, I thought, I'm going to be done after this. But I've kind of fallen back in love with it. Last year was pretty rough, like it had a lot of ups and downs. But this year it's been a lot more ups and downs. So I'm a lot more comfortable. I have some great teammates, which makes it so much easier. And I'm seeing the potential of what it can be. So I don't know. I would like to continue playing as long as possible, as long as my body can handle it. But I change every day on what I want to do, so I'm never sure.
Yeah.
And how do you
What's
feel like being away, like from family, and like how do you handle those like stresses of not being able to being physically with those people, like the relationships with the people you care about?
Yeah, so a lot of it's just like calling and talking to them when I can. During the summer, we spend a lot of time together, so that's always nice. But just like finding those ways that you can communicate, even if it's not face to face, like just a text saying, "Hey, like, how are you? Miss you. Hope you're doing well."
Mhm.
That's super meaningful. But yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy to be away from family when, you know, my university was 1 hour from home and I could go home whenever I wanted. So it
Exactly.
was definitely a change.
Yeah. That's one of the toughest things. Like when I was in college, like I had my family came to every single game. So I was kind of like you, where I lived maybe 45 minutes away from Lewis.
Hmm.
So my family was able to come to every single game, home and away. Like they traveled also. And
Yeah.
then I can probably count on one hand how many times like my parents missed a game in college. And then I got over here and I'm playing and I'm looking in the crowd like, where's my parents? And
Right,
like the
exactly.
weirdest thing in the world where you're just out there playing. Like that's a huge adjustment. Like playing,
Definitely.
you have to get used to not being around your family and not having them see you play live. Like, yeah, they can watch games online and you can send them games and stuff like that, but it's not the same as them being there.
Not at all. It's so, so different.
Mhm. Um, so the season, how long is your season in Cyprus?
So I got here at the end of August, and I think championship is like mid-April, usually before Easter. So, however long, 8 months maybe,
That's
if I'm doing math right.
what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's a very long time.
It's tough. Yes, different than college.
Yeah, way different. So in terms of like mentally getting through that, how do you get through it yourself?
Yeah, so a lot of it is taking care of my body. That's, of course, first. I have a physical therapist, physiotherapist here. They're great. I go all the time, even if it's just for something minor, but like staying on top of those problems,
Mhm.
getting proper rest, taking like time for myself if I need it, just going out on my own, getting a coffee if I have to, um, that sort of thing. Connecting outside of volleyball too, like finding friendships outside of just the team. There's actually a cafe owned by an American couple here So connecting with them, there's a couple other Americans who hang out there too, that sort of thing. And yeah, just like taking care of myself. Like it's the little things, like taking that time. If I need it, I, spend time by myself.
All right.
Yeah.
Off season, what do you find yourself doing? Do you train still heavily, or is it more like a down period for you?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
In your off season, is it more like a down period for you, or do you still find yourself training heavily? Because I know for basketball, it's like we say we're off, but we're never really off. Like
Never all.
we're in
24
the gym,
months, 12.
we're literally in the gym all the time, either getting shots up or like some form. Like so, like for volleyball, do you have some form of like consistency where you stay in the gym, go like practice bumping or spiking or like all of those?
um, no, you're good. For me, during the summer, I usually take a lot of time off. And maybe I'll play some sand volleyball, um, do like workouts and that sort of thing. Adult nationals for volleyball are in the summer, which is like, it's just like a big tournament, like club tournament sort of thing, but for adults. You got to create your own team and everything, and usually it's with some girls that you've never played with before. So I did that this past summer. But yeah, mostly it's just like going when I can to get a couple reps and then taking time off and giving my body some rest. Um, this summer I did some stuff at my old club that I used to play and coach at, and then went down to my university too because my sister's still there. So I would go train with them, and I'm friends with the new coaches there too. So yeah, just like taking a few reps here and there, but it's definitely not like, it's not like basketball. It's not like I'm in there all the time. There's no like leagues or anything like there is for basketball, at least for indoor. There's sand leagues, but I'm not great at sand volleyball, so I don't usually do that.
You know what I learned, like just being over here or post college, is that you have to be super, super disciplined with taking care of your body.
Yes.
There's nobody in college, they're on you like every single day, in terms of that stuff. But once you get out here, it's like you're on your own, you're in charge of that stuff.
Yeah,
And if you're not taking care of your body, like that's on you. You know what I mean? So
definitely. Well,
just
and
learn
if you're not taking care of your body and you get an injury, like you get sent home.
exactly.
We have
Okay,
some,
so,
right, we have some friends who, a guy who plays for a men's team here. He in the game tore his ACL and meniscus, and he's getting sent home. Like he's done.
That's
Like they
crazy.
don't, yeah, they don't want to pay for anything, and they just want to send him home. Right? Yeah. Right. It's
So he
you
has to
can
get
get,
like his surgery and stuff like on his own.
yeah,
That's
but
ridiculous.
that's a whole nother thing where
yeah.
right, he's arguing with the club now about it, but
Yeah,
it happens, and like you can get sent home for an injury easily. I'm really
yeah,
fortunate with my club though. They're very protective of us and they take care of us, and I'm very lucky.
yeah. Like that's that's crazy. To say
Right,
the
right.
least. I've definitely seen a few guys get sent home, but I was kind of like you. I was fortunate enough to. I've had two injuries overseas. Just recently had one a few months ago, but I was fortunate enough to, be with a club that paid for all of my medical expenses and took care of the surgery and all that good stuff. So, but
Exactly.
definitely, like you said, you got to be aware because some clubs will send you right back home, first flight to the
Exactly.
States. So,
I do. The last place I was at, I took the spot of a girl that got hurt.
Yeah.
So she had some knee problem or something, and you know,
Yeah. And they can just send you home. And
it's
mhm.
preseason. Like the season
yeah.
ain't started yet, so it's kind of like, and I was just like, well, that really sucks.
Right. But now I have a job. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Days, what did you do like during the summer? Like what were your summers like?
Just straight workouts. I played in summer leagues, so there was a summer. I'm from Baltimore, so we had summer leagues all the time. So I would just join the team and play with some girls who I grew up hooping with. I was just always in the gym, and it's just kind of like I don't know. I think, and I can speak from the perspective of a retired professional player, is that I think I'm actually enjoying the free time that I get, like where you can actually like dedicate it to things you want to do and like stuff like that. But my summers, they felt like I was still in season because like I would tell people, no, I can't do this. I gotta work out in the morning, or I'm doing this for basketball, or and then on top of that, I was trying out for the national team for Nigeria. So then there was a lot of traveling for that, and like so, it's like I was, I don't know. For women, I can say it's like we have to play 24/7, like year round, literally.
Yeah.
But I mean, you might have had to too, Jude, but it felt like it was it's more of a necessity for women than it might be for men. But,
Yeah, I hear that. There's definitely like you said, you're playing 24/7, like all day, every day for 12 months straight. Like even after the season, you're still going hard. One of the one things that I started doing that kind of helped me out in terms of my body, I think I started like 2 years ago, I want to say. Right after the season, I always take a month off of like not doing anything. I don't go in the gym. I don't lift. I don't get shots. Nothing. Like if you even ask me about basketball, I won't even talk about it for that first month. I remember this past summer I went to visit one of my best friends in LA, and he was trying to go to the gym and stuff. And this was like right after the season. I'm like, nah,
Not
not
happening.
doing it. Nah, you gotta catch me in a few months, bro.
Yeah, I think for volleyball too, like that rest, because volleyball's tough on your knees, like all the jumping you have to do. Like I, in the summer I do, I just need my rest. Like I just need to not move for a while.
Right.
So I get it.
I mean, that helps you out, like in the long run. It
yeah,
helps you during the
Exactly.
season, and then helps prolong your career as well.
Exactly.
hmm So you're starting to see a lot more players kind of like branch out and build their personal brands. So things such as like Talk Your Sport, the platform that we have going on here, your friends platform, hashtag volleyball goals, just different things like that. You're starting to see that a lot. How important do you think it is, for players to build that personal brand, especially for overseas players?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is like connecting with other people. Um, you not only get to share experiences and understand what's going on and how to get here, that sort of thing, but you might find a job out of it too. I know with the hashtag volleyball goals, people are constantly posting like, "Hey, there's a job available for this." Like if you don't have an agent, like reach out. So there's opportunities. So finding your next possible contract. Just and again back to the same thing of like spreading awareness of what our lives are like being able to say, yeah, this is my day-to-day life and you could do this too and this is how you do it. Helping out other people to achieve their goals too. And I think also this sort of thing has also connected me with other people that are playing in Cyprus. There's a girl who followed the hashtag volleyball goals account and saw that I was playing in Cyprus and she had an offer in Cyprus. So we connected and I convinced her to come here. So like now we're really close friends and we're thinking about making plans together for Christmas and New Year's. Like you get to make those connections across seas, um, get to experience different cultures. I think there's another girl who's from America who plays for a team in the same city as me, who's created a WhatsApp group together. And there's people from Brazil, Colombia, Serbia, Croatia, like all over. Like you get people that, you know, if without volleyball or without sport, like we wouldn't be here. So being able to create that personal brand of like, hey, I'm a professional athlete, gets you those connections of other cultures too.
Exactly. I think
Yeah.
that's one of the best things to me, just in terms of like being out here playing professionally overseas, is that you get to meet so many people from all over the
Yes.
world. So like Daisy, I literally met Daisy playing over here in not
Right.
France, Spain.
How
Uh,
come? Like literally, we're like, oh, we hear English.
yeah,
Hey.
Right.
so you get to connect with
Exactly.
so many dope people from all across the world, and those end up turning into like, lifelong friends.
Exactly. And now you have places to go visit when you're
Hmm.
overseas too. Like if I want
Exactly.
to go hang out in Denmark, I could. If I want to go to Croatia, if I want to go to Brazil, like I have connections now. So,
Yeah. And just in terms of like the brand identity also, and personal branding, I do think it's like super important. And now, like we said, like we're starting to see it a lot more. And I credit some of those, major superstars in our home country for kind of starting their own platforms, and everybody just branched off of that. And I do think, like I said, I do think it's super important, just for overseas players, to kind of like you can make more money off of that. Um, you can build a stronger fan base, and you can just get to connect with a lot more people. Like you said before, you get to show people your journey, give people that insight, and help them out, for when it's their turn to try to go overseas and play. So I think it's huge, just however you want to do it, build your personal brand, whether that's starting a platform like this or starting a YouTube channel or so any social media account, whatever it is, I think it's super.
exactly. And I think it also comes to connections too, like who you know. Like that's huge in the world of sports. Like
Mhm.
if I want to continue playing or if I want to go back and coach, like I need to have connections and I can do that through the social media platforms and different avenues like that.
Exactly. That's dope. Well, we want to wish you good luck for your next game, which
Thank
is
you.
Tuesday. Um,
Tuesday, yes.
so we wish you good luck for that. We hope you guys come out with a win. Hope you have the
Thank
best game of your career and a great
thank
season.
you.
We want to thank you. Thank you for coming on and joining us today. Um, Definitely said a lot of insightful things, and I think a lot of people could use some of the knowledge, that you were giving out today. So appreciate that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys having me for this.
No problem. Yeah, definitely. I
Anytime. You're
learned a
welcome.
lot, honestly, because I think that's the coolest part is to make sure we get people outside of basketball because we know the gist of basketball, but it's just like there's just
Mhm.
such a greater audience where it's just like a lot of people don't know that they can go pro in their sport without having to
Exactly.
be on like an Olympic team or like something like that. So
Right. And
Mhm.
that's the thing, like volleyball, whatever level you play, there's a league for it. Like I think Germany has like 10 different leagues from, the best of the best to the lowest of the low. So if you want to play, you can do it.
mhm.
That's good. That's real good. Well, once again, we want to thank you, everyone. This is Alli Cudworth playing in Cyprus right now. Thanks
Thank you
again.
very
We wish you
much.
luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too. See ya.